This movie is about autocomplete. We're going to take a look at using autocomplete. We'll find out how to turn it off if you don't want to use it. And we'll take a look at some functionality with autocomplete that some people may not be aware of. So I have a workbook set up where I have a list of states, and to the right of the state name I have the square miles associated with that state in terms of area. We're going to take a look at some functionality called autocomplete. I'll left-click B15, make that the active cell. Let's say I want to type some information into B15. I'm going to type O, and Excel, at this point, suggests a completed text string for me, which is Ohio. And how does it do that? It does it on the basis of what is in column B to start with. I'm going to escape out of that, and instead of B, I'll put M, and it suggests Michigan. So obviously it didn't suggest Ohio because that was the last thing that I entered. Once Excel can determine a unique value based on the text that I've typed into my active cell, it offers that as a suggestion. So what do I mean? Well, I'm going to escape out of this and type new. Now we have 3 states that begin with new space. Autocomplete hasn't suggested anything at this point because I haven't identified enough characters for Excel to determine a unique value. It's a suggestion for a way to complete this cell. Once I type an M, I get New Mexico because there is only one state that begins with NEW space M, and that's New Mexico. I'll escape out of that. I'm going to now type NEV. Now what's happened? NEV is obviously Nevada and only Nevada if you look at the cells above the active cell B15. But autocomplete only takes into account the contiguous cells in the column. Nevada is sitting off by itself. In between Nevada and New Mexico, there are 2 cells that are blank. The only thing that's required is there to be some sort of content there. If I go up and I escape out of this, left-click B8, press the space bar, enter, go back down to B15, type in NEV. Autocomplete now suggests Nevada as a possible text entry. So there just has to be something in the cells to make autocomplete include those cells in the contiguous range as it looks for a unique value to offer as a suggestion. I'll escape out of that, left-click D15, and show you that autocomplete does not work with numbers. I've entered 106054. That is obviously enough to uniquely identify the numbers in the contiguous range above the active cell. It is cell D14, but autocomplete is not suggesting some value to complete this value with because it doesn't work with numbers, it just works with text. Another thing I want to show you about autocomplete, and a lot of people don't know about this functionality, if you press the Alt and down arrow, you will get a list of the unique values that autocomplete will use to suggest your completed text with. From here, I can down arrow or up arrow or left click to select a value to enter into my cell. Down arrow again, Alt down arrow, and this time I'm going to select Ohio, enter. This can be really helpful if you've got some long text strings or some text strings that are complicated with specific punctuations or spellings that are difficult to duplicate or replicate. It can make data entry a lot more convenient. One thing about autocomplete, though, it can sort of get in the way. I'm going to down arrow to B17, press OH, and let's say I want to type the word OH. Now, Ohio is there, OH. Autocomplete wants to have me complete this text string with IO, the word Ohio, the state name Ohio. That's not what I want. I want OH. I can backspace and enter, and I get my OH without the IO. But if that's not enough to work around autocomplete, and sometimes you just want to turn it off, there is a way to do that by pressing Alt-F-T to get to the Excel Options dialog box, click Advanced, and click this box or deselect this box, Enable Autocomplete for Cell Values. Left click OK, and now when I put any value in there that otherwise would be an autocomplete trigger that would suggest a unique value, I don't have that happen. So that's autocomplete. Autocomplete works on the contiguous range of cells above the active cell, and once you type in enough text for Excel to determine a unique value, it will offer that as a suggestion so that then you can just press enter and complete your text string fairly conveniently, as long as that is what you want. If it isn't, you can backspace and get rid of the autocomplete text string part of your entry, or you can turn off autocomplete completely. And we also saw that autocomplete does not work with numbers. It's a text function.